Ladies and gentlemen, Fantasy Football Hall of Fame. That's right. Take your time, do it right. And that's what we've been doing all year long, taking our time and doing it right. Fantasy Football Hall of Fame, Grady Glosson here. Looking forward to chatting with you about Week 5 of the Fantasy Football. And Pick'em, of course. Let's start off. Last week, we were impeccable with our picks in fantasy football as well as Pick'em. This week, let's start off with our quarterbacks, our top 5 quarterback projections in fantasy football, and then our running backs and our wide receivers. Coming in at quarterback, number 5, someone you probably didn't draft, and you wish you did. Tom Brady. That's right, New England going up against the Washington Redskins. Look for Tom Brady to have a great week. Coming in at number 4, Russell Wilson, Seattle versus LA. Number 3, Deshaun Watson of Houston going up against Atlanta. That should be an aerial attack. It's going to be a fun game to watch, no doubt about it. Number 2, we've been talking about him all year long. Lamar Action Jackson is the Baltimore Ravens beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's right, Lamar Jackson should have a great game for us. And coming in at number 1, how can you go against him? Patrick Mahomes of Kansas City at Kansas City against the Indianapolis Colts. Now let's shift gears over to running backs. Number 5, Dalvin Cook versus the New York Giants. Number 4, Todd Gurley, he's back against Seattle Seahawks. Number 3, a little bit of a surprise pick, but had an amazing week last week. It's going to be hard to top last week, but he should have a very good game against the 49ers. That's right, Mr. Chubb of the Cleveland Browns. Number 2, Ezekiel Elliott versus the Green Bay Packers. And number 1, we're going with the Superman himself, Mr. McCaffrey, Christian McCaffrey, going against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now let's switch gears over to wide receiver. Number 5, great week last week, Mr. Odell Beckham going up against the San Francisco 49ers. Number 4, Keenan Allen. It's hard to go wrong with Keenan Allen and versus the Denver Broncos. Number 3, a little bit of stretch you may say, we don't think so, Chris Godwin. Chris Godwin of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going against the New Orleans Saints. And number 2, DeAndre Hopkins versus the Atlanta Falcons. Number 1, Julio Jones versus the Houston Texans. This segment brought to you by www.Fantasy Football Hall of Fame, where you, and I do mean you, can be inducted in the Fantasy Football Hall of Fame based on your pick'em record and the criteria within www.Fantasy Football Hall of Fame. A great pick'em site, no doubt about it. Now let's go on to our projections for this week in our pick'em. The Rams versus the Seahawks. We think this is going to be a very close game, but we think the Seahawks are they're going to win this one, as Mr. Wilson does not lose on Thursday night games. The Jacksonville Jaguars against Carolina Panthers. We're going with the Panthers. The New England Patriots at Washington. We're going with the Patriots. The Bills at the Titans. The Bills have been great all season long. Surprise pick, we're going with the Bills over the Titans. I know the Titans are good, but we think the Bills are going to bounce back and prove that they are the real deal. The Baltimore Ravens at Pittsburgh, we're going with the Ravens. Lamar Action Jackson will be the difference maker, as well as a running back, and of course wide receivers, and of course the defense. Heck, we think the Ravens are better than their record even indicates. The Cardinals at the Bengals. Surprise, surprise, surprise. We're going with the Cincinnati Bengals. Who they think they're going to beat the Cardinals? The Bengals are, the Bengals think they are, and the Bengals will. Now the San Francisco 49ers, we've already discussed them, have we not? No, we haven't, but we'll get to them in just a few moments. Atlanta Falcons at the Texans. We're going with the Texans. The Buccaneers at the Saints. We're going with the Saints. The Vikings at New York. We are going with a surprise pick with the Giants, folks. That's right, we are going with the Giants. The Bears and the Raiders, we're going with the Bears. The Bears have got it on track. The Jets and the Eagles, we're going with the Eagles. Flying high with the Eagles. The Broncos and the Chargers. The Chargers. the Chargers. The Packers and the Cowboys. I said, the Packers and the Cowboys. Yeehaw! How about them Cowboys? As they come away with another win. And the Colts and the Kansas City Chiefs, we're going with the Kansas City Chiefs. And the Browns and the 49ers on Monday night. The Browns and the 49ers. Surprise, surprise, surprise. We're going with the Browns. And there you have it. Wrap up of Week 5, ladies and gentlemen. Wishing all your fantasies good ones. Take your time, do it right, and make the right pick. Hoping all your fantasies and pick'ems are good one. Until next week, have a great week. Become a Hall of Famer. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. See you, and I do mean you, next week.